Imagine that you are an up-and-coming artist with a talent for music and sound. Now imagine that you are a gamer involved in the indie scene a few years ago during the boom of Undertale and Five Nights at Freddy's inspired content. And finally, I want you to imagine that you combine those two things, resulting in you becoming incredibly popular for your fan-made music. Now skip forwards a few years, and you realise that you want to be recognised as something more, so you decide to stop all of your fan-made music and move on to something else, yet the numbers seem to fall off. How would that make you feel? What kind of artist would you become? This is the story of Groundbreaking. My introduction to Groundbreaking was actually thanks to Spotify of all places. See, my playlist is completely random. In fact, having this year in Spotify Wrapped saying that I'm a shapeshifter because it's very hard to pin me down to any one genre or artist. It was on one of these Spotify binges where I allowed Spotify to recommend songs to me, and I came across the track LOL. This sums up my reaction.
Everything's a goddamn joke to you.
Groundbreaking is a project started around 2011 by the artist Harper. He would first start this project with the album First Call. The album was set up of 10 tracks, starting with It's Me and ending with All or Nothing. A few notable tracks on the album include Go, as well as some funny ones like This Sentence is False, as well as the hardcore alternative track The Tragedy that's based on the tale of Macbeth. Now, I will say a lot of this is anecdotal because the first three albums, First Call, Fall Forward and A Long Way, are very hard to find their sources on. It appears that a lot of the old links are since disabled and scrubbed, but there are still some residual sources like Intimate on the second album, Fall Forward, which can be found on Groundbreaking's main YouTube channel as one of the first videos. Now, I want to summarise this entire period from 2011 to 2014 as the demo era of the EPs. First Call, Fall Forward, A Long Way, Corruption and Willpower are all examples of Groundbreaking trying to find his voice within his sound. This would become a theme for him. Next on the albums would be Shadow Business, which kind of wasn't an EP in the sense it was a collection of different songs and projects that were made, before finally in 2014 Devastator was released. Devastator was the first official release from Groundbreaking, and it included inspirations from Nine Inch Nails and Linkin Park. After the album's release, one of the largest ones was Faker, which to this day has nearly 200,000 views on YouTube. But then, around this time, something interesting happened. See, Groundbreaking has been experimenting with remixes for the past few years, and there was another well-known artist at the time that was growing known as The Living Tombstone. On the 31st of August, The Living Tombstone releases Five Nights at Freddy's song. It's quite literally just called Five Nights at Freddy's One Song, but despite the simpleness of the title, the song has since amassed over 337 million views, and has even ended up being the credits for the official Five Nights at Freddy's movie. Wild. Anyway, that aside, this was important because Groundbreaking was inspired by this song, and only a month later, on the 22nd of September 2014, oh hey look my birthday, he would go on to produce a remix of this song. And to say this blew up for him was an understatement. Again, as of this video, it's reached nearly 2 million views on YouTube, probably going to be higher by the time this is over. Now, this song was 10 times the viewership on his biggest song. So to say this one remix really changed things for Groundbreaking and shooting him into the massive amounts of viewers that he would have is an understatement. From this day forwards, Groundbreaking would start making fan-based music. He would go on to do a remix of This Is Halloween, the Super Smash Bros. Remix, the Five Nights at Freddy's 2 remix, which he called Again, and another holiday mashup of What Is This, that was all done in a span of only 3 months, from September 2014 to January 2015. What is undeniable is that the largest songs that Groundbreaking made were songs tailored towards Five Nights at Freddy's. And this is where he made, on the 16th of January 2015, the Bonnie song. If having 30 million views wasn't enough of an example just to show how big FNAF was back in 2015, then I don't think anything could. And while that's got loads of views, it didn't stop there. He would go on to be inspired to make the songs about the other characters. We've got Chica, Mangle, Springtrap, the Puppet, Foxy, you get the idea. He also continued to make his remixes, such as Die in the Fire remix, though he did find more success in making his own original fan-related content. From here, he would then branch into other games such as Minecraft, Legend of Zelda, and, as what he would also become known for, Undertale. Now there's loads and loads of songs. It would take me a while for me to go back through all of them, but do feel free to go back there to 6 to 8 years ago just to have a look at how much his work has changed in that time. That being said, it seems around the time between late 2015 through to 2017, Groundbreaking wanted to expand into other areas that were not linked to any existing IP. These include We Are Monsters, which was released in 2015, which looked into how humans can be beautiful but also chaotic creatures. Anarchy, released in 2016, which was a separate project by Sean telling the story of a post-apocalyptic future where humanity is overseen by the UAJP. But this era is where there is a marked difference in Sean's attitude and his music. He would release Hurt in 2016, which covers the topics of pain, coping, acceptance, and resisting being put down. See, this would be foreshadowing of what would come next. In 2017, he would release Nightmares and Determination, and these two albums were the last of the Five Nights at Freddy's and Undertale respective pieces. But if you started to realise, based upon the existing albums and the description of the songs, you may notice that around this time Sean was starting to battle with doubt into who he is as an artist. See, while he's got loads of fame out of the Five Nights at Freddy's stuff and the Undertale stuff and all the other fan-made music, he realised that a lot of people were only there for the IP that he was basing his music off, and he felt like very few people respected him for his message and his music. This is why Sean would then go on to, in 2017, release the unofficial album, Censored. There are only 3 songs on Censored. These are Ultra Viral Clickbait Power, the YouTube song, and Benny the Rules. And I want to take a moment talking about these 3 because they are the greatest and clearest way to explain how Sean was feeling back in 2017. And we're going to go in order, starting with Ultra Viral Clickbait Power. This song's quite short. It only has 2 verses, but it's quite clear in what it's intended to say. The unfortunate bit here is that the song was very much overlooked by people, somewhat solidifying exactly what he's trying to say in the song, that he's only really famous because of the bear, Freddy, that it was Freddy that got him his money, his fame, and that you have to sell yourself out to these bigger IPs and chasing these trends to get popular. The other side of it is him saying that he feels like he has to go back to a job that he hates if he gives this up. It feels like he's stuck between these 2 walls where he doesn't know where to go, and he's decided to make the choice in the first of the 3 songs to leave the whole scene and stop making fan-made music, but instead deciding to go and make what he loves.
But I have to listen and obey and oversaturate, 'cause why would I go back to a 9 to 5?
Now the next song out of the 3 is the YouTube song. It's quite clear. If the first one wasn't, this one is even more blatant in what he's trying to say. The message is similar to what it is in Ultra Viral Clickbait Power, but he has more verses and more choruses.
I've been here 4 or 5 years, writing a lot of songs for your human ears.
He's trying to explain how he feels as a musician, that he doesn't feel like a YouTuber, that he doesn't feel like he should be chasing these viral trends. Instead, he should be making music, and people should appreciate the music he's making, not the fact that they appreciate whatever clickbait thing to talk about in the recent age is. More importantly, he's losing his passion, and he doesn't know what to do.
I'm just a guy who makes songs, and everything I worked up to, I try to get my message out, but I'm just a music artist. Everyone keeps pushing me down. How am I supposed to keep up when they're out there pushing videos
Finally, we have what I find to be the most profound of the three, Bendy the Rules. I'm incredibly impressed by the way he's done it because it's quite tongue-in-cheek. See, anyone would see the video and assume it is just another fan-made music video about Bendy and the Ink Machine that was the viral thing back in 2017. Groundbreaking knew this, but that isn't what the song's about. If you read the lyrics, it's very clear. It's the last song of the three, and is the one that went viral. The other two hardly got listened to, but this one did, with over 200,000 views. He pointed out how Bendy and the Ink Machine is just another thing that's viral now and will be gone before you know it. And since very few people talk about Bendy and the Ink Machine today, he was dead to right on his claim. So rather than talking about the game, he sings about his career. He refers to Undertale and FNAF again. He talks about how when Bendy dies, the next thing will take over, and that you have to keep chasing virality. That's the YouTube game. And that if you don't play by the game, whatever's trending, you are just going to be forgotten about and replaced, because that is what you are as a fan-made musician, replaceable. And he's done with that. Now, I'm just going to briefly go off script here and just shoot for free form. When researching this, a lot of people would actually mark Bendy the Rules as being the end of his quote-unquote depression era, but I would beg to differ. From what I could find, while it is true that Bendy the Rules was maybe the end of the fan-made music, this was the start of Sean now having to question where he goes next, because the freedom that he has now attained has its consequences. And that's what we'll find next. Around this time as well, he released Anarchy 2, which was a follow-on from Anarchy 1, continuing the story. So that's it, right? He'd stop making fan-made music in 2017, he'd go off to make the music he wants to make, and he'd get loads of fans and support, and he'd be recognised as an artist and be free. And happy. That's what a lot of people felt. Especially with Bendy the Rules, and that's why I had to take a tangent, because a lot of people were saying it's the end of the Depression era. I would say no, because there is a price to freedom. And in this instance, the price was the views and the support. Here's the thing. His original music was getting viewed, maybe 10,000 views or so, which is impressive to me, because I get hardly any views. Hi guys, welcome. That being said, if you went from millions and millions of people adoring your work, and you realize it's only because you based it off of someone else's work that people didn't seem to come to you for your own, people weren't listening to your messages as your work or your artwork, and then when you end it all, they all vanish. It fucks with you. And this isn't me making it up. You can find this in the next album that he released, insert genre here, of that same year. Insert genre here is a mixture of his emotions. The track names are the most obvious: obsessive, anger, stress, anxiety, insomnia, depression. At the time, he was mixed on how he wanted to be perceived. He just wanted to make his music. There was a constant question he had to ask though: what kind of artist was he? He disliked people trying to pin him into a box because he wasn't a specific genre artist, which is where the album comes from. This is where he wanted to be free and was searching for it. He was spreading his wings, he was experimenting, he was trying to find his sound. And I think insert genre here, the actual song itself, is a great example of his frustration he felt about other people pinning him into a box. He's already been through all of that with the fan-made music. He didn't want to just be that fan-made music YouTuber that he was known as. He was an artist and wanted to be recognized as such. If I had to describe the overall album, I would describe it as he was a marionette being pulled by the strings of virality, and in this album he has finally cut those strings. And the next album, Zero, is him realizing that without those strings, he can't move. Zero was released in 2018, and the first half of the album is actually quite depressing. It's an apology is how it starts, actually, with Sean challenging what he's done and realises that without those strings he can't move. He begins to realise that his actions have resulted in him losing a lot of viewers and fans, and his fame that had been following the trendy stuff was near enough gone. A lot of the songs are around him challenging who he is as an artist, even showing doubt into why he continues, and what is his reasoning for continuing. But I think Rebel on the album's a key here. He starts with a bit of revelation about what he's doing, and that he has a choice. It could either go off into silence, be forgotten as an artist, or he could try to find his place in the world. And then his attitude shifts in the next album, Blood, Sweat, Tears. I think these two albums are combined, because whilst Zero is his remorse, Blood, Sweat, Tears is his anger. On its surface, Blood, Sweat, Tears seems like a larger criticism to the world, talking about rap killing everything and children getting dumb because of listening to junk, and that if you keep looking at the past, you're just never going to change. But that's where it's interesting, because you've heard his story, and you realise, listening to them, the album isn't just talking about the world, but it feels like he's talking about himself, specifically having made things for kids that are, well, junk. Talking about looking back in the past and the negative view he had on the whole chasing trends and not moving forwards. They're really about his own resentments. It feels like I said, they are two sides of this remorse, Zero and Blood, Sweat, Tears, both his anger at the world and his regrets and hang-ups as an artist. But I would say the best thing that came out of these three albums, insert genre here, Zero and Blood, Sweat, Tears, is while a lot of it was from resentment, it helped him refine his sound. He truly began to find himself as an artist, which is maybe the reason why all of this started in the first place. And all of this would culminate in LOL, which is also one of the few that has a music video too. And I want to take a moment to talk about that, because if you take the music video, the lyrics standalone, and the lyrics with the story, it has three different meanings. Let's start with the easy one with the music video. It's about a couple with a dysfunctional relationship. The protagonist feels like the relationship's falling apart, yet the other person in it seems to not care, decides to look at memes and laugh about it, running away from the situation, instead watching videos and looking at, like I said, memes. But the lyrics can also apply to the world at large, where a lot of society has reached a point of hyper self-criticism that, as a result, in a mockery of ourselves, we run away from the problems to the online world through escapism, that we don't want to challenge the world or ourselves, we just want to escape it all. But again, much like Blood, Sweat, Tears, he may not be speaking of a hypothetical relationship, and he may not be talking about the world at large, well, partly, but he may be more focused on his previous work, and that he's talking about himself and running away from these problems. And I tell you now, to go from making videos about a funny killer bear to this is indeed an indicative evolution of his music. Now, I haven't really gone deep into his musical talent, but if you do listen to the albums, you can see just how much his musical talent has refined and blossomed in these years. Yes, it's angry and a lot of resentment can be heard in it, but it's not just the lyrics anymore, it's the sound itself. It goes together. I'm not a music tutor, and I imagine someone may look at it a different angle, but I would definitely implore you look at the music around this time. Anyway, let's move towards the modern day. You can tell that Groundbreaking was still hung up about the past, especially with the video music to feel alone to, but after this he made a song called Meltdown with Try Hard Ninja, which is funny to mention because Try Hard Ninja is yet another artist that got popular back in the day from Five Nights at Freddy's. And from here he would release his latest album, Parade, on December the 10th, 2021. It's the first album of Groundbreaking to go on vinyl, and it's also the first to be mastered not by Sean, but instead by Elliot James Moulton, which is an LA mastering engineer. Sean said that he believed that this album is the definitive result of all that he's learned over the past 9 years of making music, and you can tell a lot of the songs on the album are pretty bloody good. After the album, Groundbreaking moved on to release a few singles. These include Woke, Dead Ends, Crowns, Cynical, Blue, you know, so on and so forth. There's a few of them, you can check them out. And that brings us to today. As of July this year, he went on tour in Las Vegas, and there's a few photos you can find of that. Unfortunately, there's no video of the gig, but I'm sure everyone had a great time. And as for the latest project coming out from Groundbreaking, this will be Future Fusions. It's a cyberpunk-themed collab vinyl, includes 11 artists, with Groundbreaking being among them. Now, as of this video, the album is available for pre-order, though of course if you're watching in the future, it's probably already out. Regardless, go to link down below to be able to get the vinyl in a pre-order set to release in around February 2024. And there's reason to be excited because it looks like he's returning back to his passion with a cyberpunk theme as found in Anarchy, which you can go check out, again, down below. I don't have a vinyl player, probably going to order it, might just keep it on the side for now. I want to listen to it when it comes out. Now, what's the message here? Well, you could sell your soul, be all upset about what you do and not respect your work and get loads and loads of views and get famous. Or you could have some self-respect and try to make people something that they may like, and if they like it, they do, if they don't, they don't, but sticking to your morals. If you remember all of his old stuff from back in the FNAF days, I would ask of you to check out his new stuff. His sound is much cleaner, more refined, grittier even. The subjects are quite hard for some of you. You may not like how it's gone, but I would recommend that some of you, maybe more of you, may like it than you know. So please do check it out. You'll find his socials down below. I think that he's deserves the reputation that he should get. He's a solid artist, and that's what inspired me to make this video. Anyway, thank you for watching. You can find me on all my socials. You know where they are. They're down below. I'm a streamer. I do that Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. You'll find me on Twitter. You'll find me on TikTok. You know all that stuff already. If you like the vid, like it. If you've got anyone else that you remember that you think might need a shout out, feel free to put them down below, and if I recall them, I might look into them. I apologise I didn't look at Unturned for some years, but hey, I've not played Unturned, so that ain't my history. Maybe I'll look into it someday if I ever can be bothered. And lastly, thanks to the massive amount of support on the Zekas vid. That is ridiculous. What, 50,000 views now? I did not expect it to even breach 1,000. 1,000 thank yous. I still can't process it. And other than that, have yourselves a fantastic day.